Nick, I was trying to figure out what to call this. I was trying to figure out, specifically where in the programming grid this falls. And since it's like soccer over there, but it's soccer down here, it's like this this multinational conglomerate of soccer talk that we, now that you're back for the first time in a little while. First and foremost, welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been really crazy. I've been promising you guys that we're going to try to present some new and interesting content, and been working on that. So it's that's been taking up time, and then also it's good to step away for a little bit, take a break, and we're in the transfer season now, and I figured now that we have the crossing of the streams between MLS and now Serie A, it seems, it's let's go ahead and jump into it and present some information that may be beneficial on the SDH side, and then kind of work back into the waters of SOT in the process.
All right, so we can let's start with the one, and then we'll come back to the mini, and go all the way out west. And when Chiellini signed with LAFC, great piece of business by GM John Thorrington, getting him as an AM signing. Same with that Gareth Bale dude, who's an AM signing for now until they change things up. But Chiellini got his first taste of the South on the weekend, heading to Nashville, then going up against Nashville SC. It ended up being a 2-1 win for LAFC. But there was one moment that stuck in my brain where it kind of Hani Mukhtar kind of put him in the skids. It's like Mukhtar stopped, and Chiellini just kept right on going. After the match, Chiellini said that I don't think he was necessarily, I'm paraphrasing, he wasn't necessarily prepared for how hot it was in Nashville. Chiellini to LAFC, sir.
Yeah, that one's a bit interesting. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's 37 years old. He ain't exactly a spring chicken, and his ability to read the game is second to none. Let's go ahead and start with that, right? We're going to start with the positives for LAFC. One, he's a field general. Yeah. Even if he is not physically at his best on the training ground, he can marshal the defense and help teach these younger players, hey, look, in this situation, do this, not this. Go here, not there. Read the game in this particular way. And he's going to get a lot of respect in that locker room simply because, he just won the Euros, right?
And he bought an espresso machine, man.
Hey, look, man, you gotta. I don't know if you've ever seen these videos from these Serie A locker rooms, man, but espresso's no joke. I mean, in Napoli, they're walking around, they have the Bialettis in hand, piping hot. They're pouring espressos for everybody. Look, if Giorgio wants to bring like a $6,000 espresso machine in, the locker room will benefit. I'll put it that way. But the one thing that I typically say for signings that come from, especially from Italy, is that there's two challenges you're going to have to face. One is the physical, and that's the heat and the travel. And the other is the mental, which means that, yes, you were very good in Serie A. However, MLS is not what you may think it is. It's not what it was back in the old days where it was just punt and run and, yeah, okay, I'm just going to sweep a little left, sweep a little right, and, rip the ball off of this guy and send it back downfield, no problem. It's a completely different game now. The level of talent in MLS has skyrocketed. The level of play here, if the refs would get out of the way, has skyrocketed. And it's important that Chiellini, when he shows up, you're not going to have to worry so much about the mental side of Chiellini. You're not going to have to worry about him being up to play. I mean, you're going to see a guy who's going to fist bump clean sheets. He's going to fist pump anytime that there's a defensive stop, just like somebody would if there was a goal scored, right? The way that they treated defensive plays at Juventus was if they stopped a particularly aggressive attack, I mean, they were celebrating on that back line. It should be no different here for LAFC. For the playoffs especially, he's a wonderful signing if you're looking at the playoffs for this year. I hope he parlays this into a coaching career, and I think that would be the best thing for him in the long run. But if you get a year and a half out of Giorgio Chiellini, I mean, you're doing phenomenally well. However, it is very hot in Dallas in Kansas City in July and August.
Free step in September in Texas, brother.
I mean, right. So, he was playing in Turin, right? Like, they had the winter games in Turin. He's not ready for this heat. I don't care what anyone says. He's not ready for the heat. He can train like he was going to be playing. Somebody just needs to go to him like, Giorgio, baby, this is like you're playing in Sicily for 3 months straight. Okay, just prepare yourself accordingly for that. And then he's going to take a while for him to acclimatize, especially for the Texas stops. You're probably going to see him take a couple of breaks here or there, maybe sub on late, especially if LAFC's up early. You may see him sub on a little later, so that way they can try to preserve the win, which I think is perfect for what he's going to be doing so far. But I think overall it's a good signing for LAFC. The AM stuff, I know there's been some controversy around the AM signing with Chiellini. I think Chiellini's the one guy who I would probably not question that as much with, simply because the guy just wants to play. He wants to keep playing. He's not done. He feels like he has some more left in the tank. We'll see how much he has, but I'm not shocked by that AM signing because he wants to play in a market where there are other avenues of income for him, and LA is one of the great places. And if you talk to any European, and you ask them about the United States, they're going to say Miami, New York, and LA. Like, they think only 3 cities exist. So, it doesn't shock me that that's where, when they realize, oh, it's either LA or like Kansas City or Cincinnati. No, I think I'm going to go to LA. I'll take the less money and go to LA. So it makes sense. It's a good signing, I think, in my opinion.
You're not going to go play with the Prairie Dogs out in Commerce City?
No, I'm not. No, you're not going to catch me out there.
All right, so let's come back east,
mm-hmm.
and to one team in particular, and the idea that I think that Bob Bradley has this chip on his shoulder, mm-hmm. and it's been there since he got screwed at Swansea, and I'll be the first person to say it, that he got screwed over, and he's had this chip on his shoulder. He's had it mm-hmm. since, had it at LAFC. I'm going to play my way, and basically, if you got something against it, then, whatever, it's mm-hmm. my way or the highway. Insigne, who's still injured and rehabbing and had a massive street celebration when he signed. Criscito and Bernardeschi. Those 3 are now in-house, and it is now Serie A West for Bob and TFC. Mm-hmm. I mean, they want to spend the money. MLS is going to spend the money, and they brought in those 3 mm-hmm. for a team that I want to get the numbers right. I want to get these statistics, as the adults in the room say. Mm-hmm. Right now, for Toronto FC, standings wise, they are not at the top of the East, sir. No. They would be 13th out of 14 in 21 matches. They've got 13 to go. 5-4-12, 19 points. They have lost 4 of 5. They have a goal difference of -13. They have given up 39 goals this year, and that is second to last in Major League Soccer, with both San Jose and DC United having given up 41.
A couple of things. One, you remember that they signed Giovinco. He was just a mind-bending success for them, and he was a player who was on the outs largely in Italy at the time. He was, he felt like he had more to give and more to prove, and he balled out here in the United States. If you say anything other than Giovinco balled out, I'm going to suggest that you probably pay more attention to the sport in general. I think there are 2 players in this outfit who I think could be magnificent for Toronto, and one that I am kind of scratching my head with.
Okay.
One is going to be Insigne. I think is a good signing. I think he's going to be a good signing if they allow him the time to get healthy. He's been sort of injury riddled for the past year and a half, and he has not been 100%. He was not 100% in the Euros, and he was not 100% at all really last year. So if they allow him this even some this year, if they allow him, meaning before, if they allow him time to heal, he will be fine. He will be wonderful. You're going to see a lot of the same stuff with that that you saw with Giovinco out of Insigne. His ability to, if they put him on the left, again, flexibility is going to be the key here. He could put him on the left. You could put him central. You can put him at the 10. You can put him anywhere along that front line. He's going to be very dangerous. If you put him in the middle, he can run a false 9 for you, or he can push forward, being later in his career. I mean, he's 31. He's not ancient, but he can still go. But one thing I will tell you is that from a free kick perspective, that man is lethal. And he is extraordinarily gifted at finding ways to put his teams into dangerous positions. He is exceptional at setting up players. When they ran him as a false 9, especially on the national team, he was able to put players into unbelievably dangerous positions time and time and time again. They just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. If Toronto handles this correctly, it's going to be an all-time signing for them. I will say that Bernardeschi is another guy who, the magic word here is flexibility. Anywhere you want to put him on the field, he can play. He can play anywhere on the front line, anywhere on the front line, no problem. You want to run him out the right wing, and you want to have Insigne on the left, Bernardeschi on the right. Insert striker in the middle. Have fun. If you would like to have him run as the central attacking midfielder, he can do that as well. He played wing back for a little bit with Juve, and he can run that as well. So if you're talking about from a pure value perspective, right, when we talk about NFL and these tweener guys, right, and these guys who can play defensive end, they can play linebacker. They're athletic enough that if you need to, in a pinch situation, run them at safety, they could even do that. These guys, the multiplicity, right, their ability to do multiple roles for your team helps create additional value. It's the same thing here with Bernardeschi. He can play anywhere on the field. It's no problem. And he, from everything I've seen, he looks highly motivated to play. The player that I'm going to say it shocks me is going to be Criscito. They're going to throw the name Juve out there. I would pay more attention to Zenit, St. Petersburg, and Genoa. Those are the two clubs that he had like a cup of coffee with Juve. They deemed him to be, too soft, too weak to play in the central defender position. And considering, as much as I hate Juve, this should be prepared to be shocked. They know how to evaluate central defenders at Juventus. It is a gift of theirs. They have time and time and time again, they have churned out unbelievable defenders at Juventus. They know what they're talking about here. The question I have with Criscito is if he can, is he going to arrive with the right mentality? Remember what I talked about a moment ago? The physical challenge and the mental challenge. Physical challenge, I think he's going to be fine for it. I think he's going to be up for playing. He's played in a winter. It's not going to be any challenge for him in Toronto. Remember, the guy played in St. Petersburg. I think he knows what cold weather is. But the issue, I think, is going to be more on the mental side, because it's one thing to, if you are advanced in your career and you're coming over and you're trying to be, let me see what I have left in the tank to prove. It's going to be something quite different to not be coming in from a high level and trying to figure out if I have one last run in me. It's one thing to come if you're saying, hey, look, I'm coming from Genoa, I'm going to boss these guys, right? Coming in from Genoa, I'm going to boss these Americans. And if you come in here with that mentality, and you saw this with Zlatan, right? Zlatan had a few unbelievable eye-popping goals, but there were times when Zlatan got ran by U.S. defenders.
But he conquered MLS, Nick.
No, I love Zlatan so very, very much. He conquered like Dave's Donuts and
El Trafico.
El Trafico and some of the nighttime circuit in LA. Great, good for him. But Miles Robinson put that man, a couple of other defenders put that man in the back pocket and he got nothing out of it. I think he physically could keep up in MLS. That wasn't the issue. I think mentally he was expecting to come in here and go God mode on the league. It didn't happen, and he got frustrated. Crescito, if he comes in and says, hey, look, man, I'm coming from Genoa. I don't care if it's Genoa. It's Serie A, baby. I'm going to run this league into the ground. He's going to get worked time and time and time again. Is he going to be an upgrade at defense for Toronto? Probably. That's not exactly saying much. But there are teams in this league that if you do not have your head on straight when they come walking in the building, they will run you ragged. And Crescito is somebody that I would like to see the economics on that deal, because it's more of a concern of like, all right, how much are you paying this man to be here? Because I want to see what the work rate is. I do want to see the work rate on him, and I want to see if he starts checking out mentally early. If that happens, that could be the one problematic sign. But look, if you're Toronto and you get an all-time signing maybe in Insigne, and you get somebody who could be sneaky great, not good, great, sneaky great in Bernadeschi, I think Toronto will be A-okay if Crescito flames out. It's like, yeah, the odds worked out in our favor. We had one guy didn't work out. The league history is littered with people who came in looking for, one last run for cash and didn't quite pan out. It's fine. Yeah, Blaise Matuidi. Yeah, prime example. But I think it brings to question a lot of not necessarily a question, but this league has said for a while, we're not trying to get into the aging transfer market. We're trying to get into the more young development, because economically that's where it benefits us as a single entity league to bring in these young stars and move them. And if you're Toronto, what you're saying is we are going all in right now. We're going all in big. We're going to let Insigne heal up, but he's going to be ready in time for a playoff run. Bernadeschi's going to be ready to go. You brought in Mark Anthony Kay. I mean, he's interleague transfer, but you're building to win now. That's the key thing here. But if you're the league and you're looking at this, and let's say Toronto goes on a run, they're fully capable of doing it. And they're led by a 31, 35, 28-year-old. And let's say on the other side, you have Gareth Bale and a 37-year-old Chiellini rolling up on to the other side of the that particular game. You're going to be worried for a moment, like, oh man, we can't get back into this aging veteran deal. We have to get back to U22 initiative, taking advantage of that. And I want to see Insigne succeed. I do. I want to see Bernadeschi succeed. I don't care if he's a Juve guy. I want to see him succeed here in this league. Anytime Italians come over here and do well, I'm thrilled. I would love to see Crescito prove me wrong. I honestly mean that with every part of my guts. I want him to succeed here, because if there's an avenue where we can start getting mid-tier Italian talent over here at a good price, I think is going to benefit the Italian game more. I think it's going to benefit Italian player development more, because I would rather see young Italians come over here that would normally, because of the pay your dues system in Calcio, I would rather see guys, instead of toiling away in Serie C, or Serie C, Serie B, come over here to MLS, play against very fast, very physical, very smart opponents, and then when you're ready, go back home. I think it's going to benefit everyone to do that. And if these guys can come over here, play well, kind of get their teeth kicked in a little bit, and go back home and be like, no, this league is legitimate. Because, I think it's something that could work. And I think it's a benefit to everybody. I do want to see what happens with Chiellini if you get more than a year and a half out of him. And I do hope he stays and gets his coaching badges.
Two other players that I want to get into before we go, and this is our SOT SDH crossover show. It's like On Order and Homicide. They met and they had that one. So that's
always good. The crossover episodes.
Zlatan signed for another year.
Yeah, I love it. Look, I think last year and the year before proved that his issues here were not physical; they were mental. And Zlatan will never admit that it's mental. But I think he was expecting to come over here and boss. And when it didn't happen, I think it shook him a bit. It brought a little bit of the mortality into that the creeping finish line in his mind that he has done so exceptionally well at pushing back and drop kicking from his thoughts. I think when he came here and he had a few eye-popping moments and then saw very quickly, I cannot single-handedly lift this team to success. I cannot single-handedly run this league. I'm going to get out of here while my branding and image are intact, and I'm going to go back to where I'm needed. He went back to Milan and said, look, I'm willing to take a reduced role, and in doing so, I will be the locker room presence that these young kids need. He did that and was a part of a rebuilding project that I think will go down in history for all Milan supporters. And he earned the right to get his swan song paycheck. Typically, I do not like to pay the person for what they did. I like to pay on potential more than past results. I think it's poor economic model, and it can kind of screw you over in the long run, as Serie A can show you, like just team after team after team has done this. But I love the fact that he's coming back for one more song, because it's one thing to get to the top. It's another thing to stay at the top. And Zlatan has experience in both. And I think the ability for him to walk in and say, look, boys, yes, we won the Scudetto. Now we have to win consistently in the league and in Champions League. And I'm going to help teach you guys how to do that. I think it's great. And I think he deserved the signing. And it's going to be a very, very, very exciting Serie A year. I have questions about Juve because they have lost so much talent in a very short time frame, and they don't really seem like they're building to be explosive. And I don't trust Allegri to bring new ideas that would allow Juve to sort of maximize on any sort of youth building, youth development. I could be proven wrong. It wouldn't be the first time, but Allegri does not inspire much confidence. But I do think it will work wonders for any Americans on that lineup. They will come out primed and ready for the World Cup and be far better tactically than I think they would have been had they stayed in some mid-table teams in Europe and had they stayed in some mid-table leagues in Europe as well. So.
You mentioned Juve really quickly. Aaron Ramsey's in talks with Juve to settle the final year of his contract to allow him to sign to another club for free. You mentioned Americans, and I wanted to wrap on this note, and it is twofold from Serie B. Mm-hmm. Venezia has now signed Jack DeVries from Philadelphia Union on a permanent transfer, and Andrija Novakovic is moving to Venezia for the upcoming Serie B season. I wanted your honest fashion input on 22-23 away shirt for Venezia, the away white.
Mm-hmm. Venezia has done a pretty good job of callbacks to classic Venezia kits. The away kit last year had some of a similar shoulder pattern as I want to say the 03 Venezia kit, if memory serves. The new one with the stripes, I think, is more for the gondola riders. I think that's more in that general motif, I think, is what they're trying to stick with. But I think it's okay. I don't like the new crest at all. I wish had they done these kits with the old crest, I think it would be far better. I don't like it with the new, like this very blocky. This new blocky crest that they have. But you know what? They have wonderful fashion designers, and everything that I'm seeing on Twitter looks like they're selling out of it again. So, good for them. I hope if you are a U.S. men's national team fan, if you are a U.S. soccer fan in general, you want Venezia to do well. You because they have no problems employing young talent from MLS. They have zero problem calling these kids up and bringing them over and throwing them into the fire. Serie B is a knife fight. And if Venezia struggles and those Americans on the roster struggle as well, you don't want to leave a bad taste in a league's mouth of, hey, We've had one or two Americans come over here and be pretty successful. They were more of an anomaly than they were the norm. Look, we want this to be the norm. We want success of American players in Italy to be the norm because it's good for Serie A, it's good for Serie B to bring over cheaper American talent than to try to sign some kid from Argentina or Brazil for 15, 16 million. I would rather spend 1.2 million and get an American kid who can do the same job. And I think it's going to benefit the American pyramid better in the long term for that. And it's also going to benefit the league because it's more economically sustainable and certainly a more stable model to hire these Americans as long as you can stay afloat. And according to Venezia, they were not anticipating being in Serie A last year. It was sort of an added bonus, but if they can get back into Serie A with this roster, I think you're going to start seeing a lot of people embrace this analytics model that Venezia claims to be using. And I think you're going to start seeing more American talent get mined by Italian teams.
He's Nicolifi. So if you want to reach out to him, you can reach out to him on the Twitters. You can just do your Nicolifi search. You do your soccer over there search. Hit the keyboard and hit all the keypads and make sure that you get in touch with Nick. This was cool. I'm glad we got to do this and catch up on stuff that was on your mind.
Yeah, I appreciate the break, everybody. I know it can be tough when a show just magically goes off the air, but it is appreciated and it's good to take breaks and walk away for a little bit and keep that energy going, that fire going, and looking forward to another fantastic season of soccer over there.
Send us home, Nick.
Until next time, everyone, be kind to each other, be friendly, take those breaks, take care of your mentals, take care of your mental health, everybody. My God, take care of all of it. Until next time, mucha Euro, y'all.